Here are the 7 candidates for the presidential nomination.
And that's why Russia is helping you get elected, so you'll lose to him.
Bernie and I both want to see universal health care, but Bernie's plan doesn't explain how to get there, doesn't show how we're going to get enough allies into it, and doesn't show enough about how we're going to pay for it.
They don't want candidates to be running to billionaires for huge amounts of funding.
All right, let's clear this up once and for all.
Pete has gotten funding
you've got people
from
believing
over
something that is
50
false.
billionaires. Joe, I think, has gotten a little bit more. What the American people want.
I mean that Mayor Bloomberg, let's think of it this way. We're here in Charleston, and you know who's going to be in Charleston later this week is Donald Trump. He's going to be here to raise money for his buddy, Senator Lindsey Graham. Who funded Lindsey Graham's campaign for re-election last time? It was Mayor Bloomberg. And that's not the only right-wing senator that Mayor Bloomberg has funded. Pregnancy discrimination, you bet. But I was 21 years old, I didn't have a union to protect me, and I didn't have any federal law on my side. So I packed up my stuff and I went home. At least I didn't have a boss who said to me, kill it, the way that Mayor Bloomberg
never
alleged
said
to
that.
have said to one of his pregnant employees.
I think we were talking about math, and it doesn't take 2 hours to do the math. Because let's talk about what it adds up to. Well, we don't. Let's talk about math indeed. Okay, so here's the math. No, here's the math.
Can I respond to
doing nothing is what will happen.
Senator Sanders, you're allowed a quick response, and we would like to allow the other candidates.
Let's just go on the record. They talked about 40 Democrats. 21 of those were people that I spent $100 million to help elect. Let me finish. If you keep on going, we will elect Bernie. Bernie will lose to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump and the House and the Senate and some of the state houses will all go red. And then between gerrymandering and appointing judges for the next 20 or 30 years, we're going to live with this catastrophe.
Thank you. I will. Senator Sanders, a quick response, and then.
Thank you very much. Mayor Bloomberg has a solid and strong and enthusiastic base of support. Problem is, they're all billionaires. Now,
that I really am surprised that all of these, my fellow contestants up here, I guess would be the right word for it, given nobody pays attention to the clock. I'm surprised they show up, because I would have thought after I did such a good job in beating them last week that they'd be a little bit afraid to do that.
Vice President, Mr. Vice President.
I know how you cut me off all the time, but I'm not going to be quiet anymore, okay?
Mr. Steyer.
Each of you is campaigning for the role as Commander-in-Chief. Well, you will command 1.3 million U.S. troops and be responsible for protecting America's national security. There are also 53,000 here in South Carolina.
We need not to cut and run on our allies. We need an approach that keeps us safe by using all of the tools in a measured way.
Mayor,
do we think health care for all, Pete, is some kind of radical communist idea? Do we think raising the minimum wage to a living wage? Do we think building the millions of units of affordable housing that we need? Do we think raising taxes on billionaires is a radical idea?
Let's talk about what's radical about that plan.
Reform is a radical idea.
The things you just named.
Do we think immigration reform? The truth is, Pete, that the American people support my agenda. That is why I am beating Trump in virtually every poll that has done, and why I will defeat him.
We got to open this up. Universal health care for
Senator Klobuchar.
Donald Trump's Bernie. Donald Trump's.
It used to be that kids looked up to our president, that families would gather to hear a presidential address. We held our president to the highest standard. But today, the opposite is true. Now think about it. If anyone at work or at school spoke the way that the president does, they'd be fired or suspended. As your president, I'll bring a soldier's values to the White House, restoring dignity, honor, and respect to the presidency, and above all else, putting service above self.